So I had a little visit from Santa this week. And by Santa, I mean a man dying of lung cancer that's super thin and definitely not Santa.
Damn, homie.
Yeah, man. Look, man. I have a tendency to try to be uh, kind when I can be. I'm not. That sounds like I'm fucking blowing my horn, but that's literally the reason this happened. That's the only reason I'm mentioning it. So a friend that I met while I was locked up ended up losing his home. Circumstances being, irrelevant in this case. But anyway, the point is, he was like, "Homie, I don't mean to be a bother here, but can I crash?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I guess, right? So come on over." So boom, I felt bad. I mean, come on, man, that sucks. So he comes over, and in the process of being over, I find out some things. One, he apparently has been diagnosed with lung cancer and is refusing to do the whole, a chemo bit because he had previously had, get this, how's this for shit luck, bladder cancer.
Damn,
And he
homie.
did the chemo bit. And I can tell you right now, fuck, it fucked him up. This dude was a rail compared to how I met him. So he's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna die. They gave me a year anyway. What's chemo gonna do but make me more miserable? So I'm like, well, this is a downer, isn't it? But anyway, to his credit, he does have kind of like a fuck it kind of attitude in regards to that. So, it is what it is. So he comes over, man, and he's just, it's just so awkward, man. I lived with this man for over a year, and by lived I mean in a dorm with him. So literally ass to ass with this person and other people, and he's just one of those people that I fucked with, not literally, and got along with pretty famously. He says I'm one of his only few friends, which is kind of cool for someone to say, considering he doesn't live anywhere near me. I talk whenever I can with him, and vice versa. So it always kind of humbles me when people say that, like, dude, you're like one of the few people that I consider friends. Cool, man, that's awesome. I dig that. I can roll with that. That being said, I can't roll with someone talking during a movie. It's just not my jam. Not gonna happen. Not gonna do it.
Damn, homie.
You know what I'm saying? So homeboy,
Doesn't even get the cancer pass?
he doesn't get the cancer pass, man. You can't get the cancer pass, man.
Damn, homie.
The only person that gets a pass is you, because for the most part you know how to. No, I'm not even gonna say for the most part. You know how to watch a movie, and when you do say something, it's usually something that we mutually understand what we find to be funny or worthy of pointing out. So it's rarely ever like an annoyance. There's been times, I gotta say, but it's rarely ever been an annoyance.
By Emma Stone.
But this motherfucker right here,
Does Emma Stone get a pass?
damn, I'm thinking about it. Hold on, man. Emma
Like she
Stone.
brings up the feet next to you.
Fuck, man. I think Emma Stone will get a pass, man.
And then the feet start talking.
If Emma Stone talked during the movie and she put her feet up on my lap, I may give it a pass. But I have to have watched the movie beforehand. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I pop in the movie. Look, man, I pop in the movie, right? He's asleep. I was like, this is my time to see a movie. Because, I'm a movie guy. I got to at least watch one movie a day. And if not that, like a show or some shit like that, right? So that's right, an entire show a day somehow. But I got it. It's my medicine. But anyway, so I pop in this movie just to not bother him. It's got the subtitles on, so he doesn't have to wake up, because he's one of those guys that's super talkative all the time, man. He just talks. So, I had to make sure I got to see this movie by myself because he's going to just talk.
Uh-huh.
So I'm watching the fucking movie. In case you got to know which one, it's Hellboy, the 2019 version. Spoiler, I didn't hate it like everybody. But anyway, I'm watching it, subtitles, and somewhere about a third into it, he wakes up, and I'm like, damn, this is going to be a thing. He's one of those guys, though, that's super, like, into hygiene. Like, I know that's like, what does that mean, you dirty dust ball? No, I mean like this guy's so into hygiene, he'll spend like hours in the fucking restroom sometimes, you know. And but anyway, so he goes, you know, you wake up, you go to the restroom, you clean up, right? So or take a mass duke or whatever, you know. So he goes, and I'm like, damn, I got at least a good 70 hours to finish this movie, so I'm good. But surprisingly, that day he was like, I'm outies, you know, and I'm like, damn.
Because he saw your barnacle.
No, he was familiar with the toilet barnacles already, so it wasn't that. But anyway, he comes out and he sits down and he's kind of grabbing stuff out of his backpack. And I'm like, all right, that's still silent work. This is good. But now I'm already getting distracted because he's doing stuff next to me. If I'm watching a movie, I don't want to see movie. Like sometimes moving bothers me. You know what I'm saying? You tend to undulate a lot while watching movies. Sometimes I'm you know, and then our movie watching seats are at an angle. So I have like even better peripheral vision then. And sometimes you're like, for some reason you're like leaning like this.
Dude,
or like this.
My ass goes to sleep.
And then you do this thing a lot. Mind you have like longish hair. So I'm assuming that's why you do it. But you go. And I'm like, what is that? Yeah. Every time I'm like, what is it?
By the way, if you're wondering why I always do this, it's because my tentacles tickle. And that's the reason why I do the hair thing.
Yeah, every time you do it, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what is that? So anyway, so imagine this guy, he's like digging through a backpack and all that shit, and I'm like, oh, this is already distracting. This sucks my nut. So anyway, he gets out some fucking, I was gonna say Charleston chew, so some fucking beef jerky, and he sits down and he starts gnawing on that jerk, right? And I'm like, this is good because the jerk, you gotta work the jerk.
Yeah.
You know? So that means less chances of it talking. However, already I realized
of it talking. Damn, homie.
At this moment I realized that I'm thinking too much about the jerk work and that I'm thinking very little about the movie. So I'm like, fuck. So anyway, I go back to the movie. Thankfully, I've seen it, so whatever. And I keep the subtitles on just to make it more uncomfortable for him to stay in the general movie watching vicinity. Maybe he'll take the hint and go back into the bedroom and sleep. There's not really much you can do in my house other than watch movies, really. So it's a losing game. So I'm like, fuck. So I sit there for about like a minute, you know, and that minute happens to be a transitionary period. Namely because Hellboy is not on the screen. You know, they're setting up the villain character. And the moment Hellboy comes on, of course, if you're not familiar with Hellboy 2019, it's a reboot and it has a completely different actor playing him. The moment he hits the screen, he goes, the hell is this guy? And I'm like, ah, son of a bitch. So I figure that's a fair enough question if you're not familiar. So I answer, right? New guy, new movie, keep it succinct, and that's it, right? And he goes, I hate him. And I'm like, oh, this is a losing situation over here. So I turned that sumbitch off immediately, and I'm like, all right, man. I wasn't like fucked up about it.
Damn,
I was like, all right, man, what's up? What do you want to do? So anyway, I thought that would be enough for him to take the hint, but it didn't. But more on that later. The point is, what he wanted to do was go to downtown. Now, I don't know how downtown works in other cities, but downtown here where we live, or rather the neighboring city to us where we live, it sucks. It's just a bunch of shitty Mexican shops or Chinese Korean shops.
Which you don't want to be. Never mind.
Yeah, you don't want to be in there. Fuck that shit. This fucking sucks.
They'll be staring at you the whole time.
If you're not familiar with us, if this is your first time in the channel, we're Mexican. And we're saying those Mexican shops suck.
Yeah.
We're not Korean or Chinese, but we're also saying those fucking shops suck. It's all knockoff shit, cheap shit, garbage.
They get the stink eye.
Yeah, you definitely get the stink eye if you go in. It sucks. It's the worst downtown ever in the history of man.
Freaking plastic. I don't know if it still does.
Oh, dude, it does. It smells like so plastic.
Yeah, like that. Damn, homie. How many times does he go to downtown? That's probably why he got the cancer.
This is the only time he's been to downtown because he's not a local.
Oh, okay.
No, well, correction.
Because I feel like if you breathe in that poison ass...
Well, here, I'm about to, murder you with some words here.
Uh-huh.
He's actually been to downtown before, though he's not a local. But he wanted to revisit it. He stayed here briefly when he was in the halfway house locally. That's when he saw downtown. So he wanted to go visit again. So I guess he has been very briefly.
Yeah.
But anyway, not long enough to breathe in them toxic fumes from the cheap ass shit that everybody sells there. It's garbage. It's a garbage location. I realize, sometimes people need to buy cheap, but not that cheap.
Nah,
that
dude.
shit falls apart the moment you touch it.
Like, you're better off going to Dollar Tree.
Yeah, it's bad. So we go to downtown, and predictably it sucks balls, But that's going to be another video. The point is, it's so fucking hot. And since COVID is still a thing, hardly anything is open, so it's totally not worth walking around in over 100-degree weather. And I'm like, this is a thing! So we get back home, and then, we have to do this thing that's a whole fucking rigmarole of its own. So we'll skip that. But the point is, at the end of the night, he's like, hey, let's watch a movie. And I'm like, this is not a thing. So I actually make it so that we don't watch the movie.
What you could have just popped in a comedy flick or something that doesn't matter.
Nah, I don't like to watch comedy movies with anybody except for you, because there's a pressure with comedy movies.
True. You pop in a bad one and
yeah, it's done. You're finito, and then forget about having a sense of humor that doesn't match somebody else.
True.
Fuck, forbid that. I will be torn asunder at the soul if somebody doesn't like The Big Lebowski. It'll rip me apart. I'll be like, how?
You lost a lot of respect for James Rolfe.
Yeah, dude. and who doesn't love the angry video game nerd himself, man? Everybody does, right?
You're a Rolfe fight.
Is there a world where he is hated? I don't think so, and there shouldn't be one. Damn it.
Yeah.
But that part, I was like, no. I didn't even have the Darth Vader energy to say no. No, I was just devastated.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the comedy, I can't do the comedy thing. Yeah. I'll either watch them by myself or with you, and that's it. And sometimes with you, they hit, or vice versa. If you select one, they hit or they don't. It's a crapshoot with a comedy. But anyway, I make it so that it doesn't happen that night. Conversation keeps going or whatever. I let him talk my ear off so that I don't have to watch a movie with him. But then a few days pass, and I'm like, oh God, I haven't watched a movie in forever, and this sucks. I love the guy, but his conversation is fucking crap. You know what I'm saying? You think being on the brink of death would make you more interesting, but no. It make it worse, man. I was like, this sucks. You know what I'm saying? And he's always had this problem. He's a guy that doesn't know how to talk. Converse, I mean. There is no quid pro quo. There's no tit for tat. There's just this guy can motherfucking talk. And in prison, that's okay because you're bored.
Yeah.
Out in the real world, you're like, homie, you gotta shut the fuck up.
One of those one-siders.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And, again, I love the guy and all that shit, but fucking shut up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude.
But anyway, the next day, a few days later, I'm like, oh, man, I hate this. I want to watch a movie, I'm feeling kind of bad because a part of me is like, get the fuck out, man. I want to go back to my life.
That sucks, by the way.
That sucks. Major donkey dicks. And it's not that I can't do those things. It's that, I'm one of those people that feels I have a guest, I have to,
put on a show?
Not put on a show. No, fuck no. Equally rude to him as I am to anybody. No, I just feel...
Put on airs?
Definitely not that. No, I feel that I have to dedicate my time to them. You know what I'm saying? Not leave them alone, not let them be quote unquote bored. Tend to them and their interests. So I'm like, I really don't want to tend to this guy's interests. This sucks.
You become like Cedric. You entertain and also really suck.
Yeah, basically, especially the suck part. But
yeah, Cedric.
But anyway, so I'm like, oh fuck. Anyway, this guy's like, let's watch a movie, man. Now I can't avoid it. What am I gonna bullshit another movie out of the way?
You're not gonna go to downtown.
So I'm like, I just brace myself for it, and I'm like, all right, cool, man. Then we'll take a leak. Go ahead and pick one. So I take a leak, and I come out, and he's just sitting over there. And I'm like, you pick one already? And he's like, oh no, I forgot. I'm like, this is not going good. So I'm like, All right, I'm gonna go get something to drink. You want something? He's like, yeah, yeah. You got ice? I'm like, yeah, yeah. Let me go get some ice. So I go over to your place or get some ice and shit. And I come back and I took my sweet ass time getting ice, getting a little drink, whatever. I come over and I'm like, all right, man. Well, what'd you pick? And he's like, oh, I haven't picked one yet. Son of a bitch! Oh, mate! So I'm like, well, come over here. And I'm like, what did you want to see? And he tells me, all right, one in his favor. He tells me he wants to see a horror movie. But then he says, I don't want to see nothing bloody or nothing like that, just something like thrilling. I'm like, all right, cool. That's two in your favor. Not that I haven't get anything against the bloody, but I didn't feel like the bloody. I was like, all right, maybe he wants to hear a little story. This is good. So he's looking around and he picks out Leatherface.
What?
Just from the title,
Yes.
I'm like, why would you pick Leatherface if you don't want the bloody? Now, to be fair, he picked the prequel Leatherface, not the 1980s Leatherface, which I actually really enjoy, and it is surprisingly subdued for a Texas Chainsaw movie.
I like how even in this non-review, you had to throw in a mini review.
I gotta throw it in, man.
Yeah.
I like that movie, except for that cow hiding part. Doesn't make sense. Remember when they all hide under the fucking cow? Like, how, man? Even he was like, how? And I didn't mind. But anyway, so he picks that, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'll watch that. Let's do it, right? So I throw that little sumbitch in, and then it, like, all right, how do I explain this? You know when it has the cards of the production companies?
Yeah.
All right, if you're still not paying attention to that movie, I'm okay with that. But the moment the movie starts, and yes, I'm saying this in application to my home, okay? This is not in a theater. I'm saying in my home. If you're watching a movie with me, and the moment the movie starts, your eyes are not on the screen, I'm already like, I can't fucking watch this comfortably. The only exception I have to that rule is Senor Spielbergo.
Yeah, what is that?
Senor Spielbergo, I have just accepted that his movie watching technique is ass, in my opinion.
Like, I gotta do a review, a quick friend review.
Spielbergo review?
Yeah, Spielberg review. For a homie that's like all about the hit films and shit, first of all, he freaking likes Nothing But Trouble. And second, loves it even. And second, homie's like always on his phone and shit.
Yeah. To be fair, he does watch movies like constantly.
Still,
But I have also noticed that sometimes he likes them until like the third time he's watched them. And to that I say, you shouldn't have been on your phone the first time.
Yeah.
And the Spielbergo review. Anyway,
3 out of 10.
I've just accepted that with Spielbergo,
Yeah.
and I can actually watch movies comfortably when he's here, because it's just a thing. It's just a thing he does, and that's that. However, I have not had time to grow accustomed to somebody else doing this. Like, if you did it, I'd fucking slap the shit out of you, because I'd be like, you know damn well better than that. Not because of my regard, but because I want you to enjoy the fucking movie as it is. We're just movie purists like that. Like, I don't understand a world where people don't see the screen. You realize that they're acting with their faces too, right?
Yeah.
That in the silent parts, there's important things going on. I don't get it, but anyway.
I'm much less of a movieite.
Mm-hmm.
I only watch movies when we watch movies,
Mm-hmm.
really. And yeah, I don't understand it. I feel like in my mind, I build up movies as an event.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't see them every day. So, yeah, dude, why the hell would you ruin this mini event?
Right? Like, what the fuck, man? And don't get me wrong, since I am a movie, every time I watch a movie, it's an event to me. I mean, you know this. Like, I can watch a movie for the 1 millionth time, and I still like to examine it and break it down and find out about stuff. You know, that's just me. You know, it should be an event. Why the fuck are you not watching it? So anyway, this fucking guy, the movie has started, right? Mm-hmm. And you think someone with so little time left on Earth would be like, I gotta watch this fucking movie.
God damn it, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I gotta watch this fucking movie, man. It's the last time possibly I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
And I've never seen it before. Better watch it. So he's on this fucking phone, and I'm like, this is a thing. So it starts. The movie starts, still on the phone. And I'm trying to ignore it. But of course the phone has a light, and you know.
Oh, dude.
I'm like, this is fucking happening, man. So I give it like 3 minutes. Once, you know, important characters are being introduced at the beginning. Characters that you don't see until like basically the end.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't see them then, when the end happens, it's going to be like, who the fuck are these guys? And I swear to God, if he would have asked me that at the end, I would have slapped the shit out of him. Possibly the cancer out of
The
him.
lung.
But, so I'm like, dude. And he's like, huh. You know, still looking at his phone. And I'm like, are you going to watch the movie or what? And he's like, I'm watching it. I'm like, how the fuck are you watching it? So he puts the phone down and looks at me and goes, what do you mean? And I'm like, what just happened? And he's like, I don't know. Exactly. So I said, look, I'm going to start this sumbitch again and you're going to watch the fucking movie. Is that cool? And he's like, well, can I answer this text first? And I'm like, yes. And don't answer a text at all during the entirety of the fucking movie. Get all your text juice out of you right now because it's not going to happen. So he does, and surprisingly quick at that. And to his credit, he did watch the entire movie, and the only times he talked was reacting to stuff, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's perfectly cool. In fact, one of my favorite activities, as mentioned in other videos, is watching my mom react to incredibly suspenseful movies, you know?
You know what's kind of weird about mom's viewing technique? Mini review here again.
The person review again?
Yeah, you know, I've witnessed her watch movies because she finally found out to the technology of Tubi. Still doesn't know how Hulu works or anything like that.
She sure doesn't.
But yeah, so she's been watching like movies and shit.
And they're bad. Some of the ones.
Yeah, some of the ones she watches is mierdas. But it's interesting how she like she's one of those like does something else as she watches, but somehow she knows everything that's happened.
Oh yeah, she has that weird ability. But see, the thing is, she listens to what's going on.
Yeah, I guess.
Which still is not the way to watch a movie because it's a listen and see thing. But it's way better than not doing either and pretending to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, what is this?
Yeah.
Well, of course, and she recently said this to me, actually. Why did she say it to me? I don't remember.
Because you're critiquing her
yeah.
technique.
No, I've never critiqued her. But, damn, man, I can't remember what it was. But I was talking about some fucking situation, and the first thing she asked me was, were they paying attention to the movie? I can't remember what the fuck conversation we were having. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you were gonna get mad if they weren't. And I'm like, damn, she knows. And I realized that every time she watches a movie with me, she rarely ever lets her eyes leave the screen. The only time she'll do it is if she has to look down real quick to get popcorn or some shit.
Or she falls asleep because she's tired.
By the way, the circumstance like that. Which, by the way, eating during a movie also kind of bothers me. Whether I'm doing it or someone else.
I feel like why is this a technique of eating movie watching within another video now?
Yeah.
I feel like
video.
there's some movies that is okay with. No, you know what? I'm gonna say, for me, shows are for that. Like I've been watching The Simpsons currently, and like if I get food, I'll put on The Simpsons and eat.
Yeah, I do that with shows.
Yeah, so I think shows are more friendly to
Actually,
that.
you know what? That's one of the few things I'm grateful to YouTube for.
Yeah,
that's eating fucking fodder.
True.
I know we're on YouTube and we like. Oh, I'm not gonna include you in this. I know we are on YouTube and obviously we have likes in terms of YouTubers that we like to see, but I don't really like YouTube. It kind of sucks. I mostly use it for listening to music, watching the respective hot videos to some of that music, and yeah, keeping up with like the channels that I do like, you know, and that's it. But when I do keep up with those channels, I always make it so it's when I'm gonna eat, and when I eat, I'll watch YouTube.
Well, I feel like YouTube is when used properly is very much something that you can. It is kind of like a somewhere where you go to meet with someone. It's more of a personal thing.
Yeah. I still hate it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I hate it.
I feel don't get me wrong. I think the majority of YouTube is mierda on sticks. Yeah.
I hate. This is the reason I hate YouTube, and it's because I think it's reduced entertainment to bits. Like people are now like, this is entertainment bits, and I realize that our channel is kind of like bit entertainment, but even that we run too long on. But the point is, for the most part, like you said,
feces.
I don't give a shit about YouTube. But the stuff I do give a shit about, I do pay attention to it, even then. But I will eat during it, because unlike a movie, the majority of the stuff on YouTube, you don't need 100% attention on it.
Yeah.
It's literally a conversation.
Yeah.
When you have a conversation with somebody,
you can do other shit.
You can do other shit and still pay 100% attention to them. So YouTube is a little bit better that way. And that's the part of YouTube I love. But with a movie, I hate eating during it. I will. Yeah. But I kind of, it's rare that I do it. Yeah. And when I do, I hate it. Like, I was hungry. I made myself 2 ham sandwiches, ham and cheese, classic. And I came over here and I started to watch a movie, and I'm like, 2 bites in, and I'm like, I shouldn't have done this. This is horrible. I fucking hate this. There's crumbs coming off the bread. Now I'm distracted by the crumbs. I can hear myself chewing. I hate that. I hate it. But occasionally I'll do it, and then I'll regret it immediately. When I see other people do it, it's not that I hate that they're doing it. They can do it. It's, you know what the part I hate is? When they're looking at their plate. Like, let's say there's stuff on let's say there's a steak for some reason. Who the fuck eats steak during a movie? But let's say, and they're cutting the steak, and I'm like, your eyes aren't on the screen, you degenerate shit. How the fuck are you watching a movie if your eyes aren't on the screen? And of course, the excuse many would say is I'm listening to it, but that doesn't suffice. You know?
I feel like when I eat while watching a movie, which is rare, now that I think
it is rare, yeah.
I try to wait till there's like dead air. You know,
but don't you think dead air is like the time to see the screen because something might be happening that's not audible?
Well, no, because usually I'll do it with something I've seen. So I'm like, I know nothing's gonna happen here. I'm gonna take a bite, or just freaking eat 24/7 like I do.
Or if it's I was gonna say some boring movie, but I can't think of one.
What's that movie you hate? Gone with the Wind.
Well, I just don't like it. It's not, I've never liked it.
Anyway,
but I won't say it's boring.
Let's get back to...
It's a movie that I saw once. That's my review of that. Anyway, the point is eating fucking licks during a movie. Of course, one of the ultimate examples of eating annoying the shit out of me in a movie was when one of the million times I went to go see Passion of the Christ.
Who does that, dude?
Yeah. Look, and back then I wasn't even remotely spiritual, especially not Christian, inclined towards Christian empathy. I was very anti both those things. But, I love Passion of the Christ. It's a fucking badass, great movie. So I went and watched it multiple times, and one of the times we watched it, there was these heathens eating pizza during the fucking flagellation sequences.
And then they freaking, because they ordered it like mid-film.
Yeah, got up, ordered the pizza mid-movie. Who does that?
They walked in. I remember this shit clear as day, dude. They walked in, and as they were going down the aisle, they were opening the pizza and handing it to some of their, I guess, the people that were with them. Yeah. And the freaking pizza smelled like pure mierda, dude.
Yeah, it was
it
bad.
Stunk!
It was that pizza they make in the theaters, so it's not great.
Yeah.
So, it was the worst. Like, who does that? Who?
Does that.
If I would have been, like, as a cinema guy, I was like, this is the worst. Imagine if I was a cinema guy and, a faithful Christian, I would have been like... I would have been whipping them.
Yeah.
So anyway, eating during movies have been like, this is a thing that happens. So anyway, this fucking guy actually shut up throughout the whole fucking movie. Getting back to that, at the end he was like, that was badass, and I was like, oh, relief. However, the next day I laid on the heavy hints that his time was short here, not only on Earth, but in my home. And I was like, homie, you gotta, you gotta repair your bridges. Cause really, I know I didn't say why he was homeless, but it had to do with some family drama, right?
He did like Garth Brooks and burned those bridges.
Yeah, I was like, homie, you gotta fix them shits. And he was still trying to lay on them hints. Like, hey. And I was like, homie.
Nah.
First of all, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got the money to have you around.
Yeah.
Second, I got other people to consider about, share a property with, with you and Mom. You know, granted, he's only at my place, but you know, Mom was aware of something with it. She didn't know what the fuck.
Oh yeah, she was
like, "What?"
She was asking me. I think she thought I knew what was going on. Cause I remember one time.
Did she have any theories what was going on?
No, one of the days she like texted me. She's like, "Are you awake?" I'm like, "Yeah." I thought it was you, and then she goes, "You know what's going on?" I'm like, "No, Ma, I don't know. You already asked me this."
Yeah, man. Anyway, he took the hints and or rather, I ignored his hints.
Yeah.
He took my hints, and you know, he's gone. Not from this earth, but you know, from here anyway.
I assume.
But yeah, man. Movies. I'm serious about them, man.
Apparently.
Anyway, let us know what you think about this. Hit like, share, subscribe, and those notification buttons because we're out.